The night was thick with fog, curling around the gnarled branches of the ancient trees, cloaking the small path leading up to the old Whitmore estate. The mansion loomed at the top of the hill, its dark silhouette barely visible through the swirling mist. Rumors swirled around the town about the place, but Jenna, armed with nothing but a flickering flashlight and an insatiable curiosity, decided it was time to uncover the truth. As she stepped onto the estate's cracked stone path, the sound of her footsteps echoed like whispers in the night. The air turned cooler, and she felt an unsettling chill ripple down her spine, as if she were being watched. Shadows danced in the corners of her vision, but when she turned her head, all she found was silence and the ever-thickening fog. The front door creaked open as if inviting her in, and Jenna hesitated only for a moment. The interior was drenched in darkness, the air heavy with mildew and the scent of decay. Dust hung like a shroud in the silence, and as she entered, the door swung shut behind her with a resounding thud. A shiver coursed through her as she turned to the dark entrance she had just come through. It was now a solid wall of gloom. Jenna raised her flashlight, its beam slicing through the darkness. The walls were adorned with faded portraits, spectral faces that seemed to follow her every move, eyes wide with eternal sorrow. She swallowed hard, pushing further into the heart of the estate, where the air grew stale and oppressive. Each step felt like an intrusion into a world long forgotten. She stumbled upon a grand staircase, its banister rotting and covered in spiderwebs. With cautious resolve, she ascended, each creak of the wood prompting a new wave of unease. At the top of the stairs, she found a hallway lined with closed doors, all slightly ajar, as if beckoning her to peer inside. Jenna lingered at the first door on her right, hesitant, her heart pounding like a frantic drum. With an exhale, she pushed it open. Inside, the room was empty, except for a faded armchair facing a large window, while the glass remained opaque with dust. The atmosphere thickened, a palpable tension filling the space. Jenna stepped in, and the moment she did, she felt a presence, an oppressive weight resting on her chest. The air grew colder, and she spun around, feeling a presence behind her. Nothing, just shadows and the imposing silence of the mansion. Her heart raced as she left the room, closing the door just a smidge too hard, the sound echoing ominously down the hall. She moved to the next door, driven by a mix of dread and curiosity. This one opened to reveal a nursery, the walls painted in soft pastel colors of a happier time, but the room was frozen in decay. Toys lay scattered, forgotten and lifeless, their innocence tainted by the passage of time. But in the corner, a little music box sat, untouched. Jenna felt a pull towards it, an inexplicable urge as if it were calling to her. She knelt down, brushed away the dust, and turned the key. A haunting tune began to play, a sweet but sorrowful lullaby that sent tremors through her body. As the melody filled the room, the air thickened with a sorrowful presence, and she could almost hear soft weeping echoing from the walls. Suddenly, the music stopped, cut off in an abrupt silence that felt like a warning. Jenna felt a rush of panic as she slowly turned, looking over her shoulder. In the dim light, she could see the outline of a small figure in the doorway, a child's silhouette, head bowed, hair obscuring its face. Jenna gasped, the glow of her flashlight flickering violently. "Who's there?" she managed to whisper, her voice wavering as her instincts screamed at her to flee. The figure didn't move or respond, just stood impossibly still as the darkness seemed to drain the color from the room. The tension snapped when the figure finally lifted its head, revealing hollow eyes that glowed with an unnatural light, their gaze piercing through Jenna's very soul. Time froze as she understood the depth of the sorrow reflected in those eyes, and a chilling realization struck her. This was not just a spirit, but a fragment of lost innocence, forever trapped in this house of horrors. With a rush of adrenaline, she turned to run, the sound of tiny bare feet padding behind her growing nearer. Jenna sprinted down the hallway, the walls closing in, the house alive with whispers of the past, urging her to stay. She burst through the front door, the fog outside swirling like a living entity, trying to pull her back. As she stumbled onto the path, breathing heavily, she dared to look back at the estate. The door slammed shut behind her with an echoing finality. Jenna felt relief wash over her, until she noticed the music box still clutched tightly in her hands, the lullaby playing softly, eternally. In that moment she understood. Some doors may close, but the darkness never truly leaves you,